is a movement through space-time. Man. Hello. Because you were already seeing the show. Hello, everybody. Yep. Oh, God, that mute. Oh, man. Oh, it's like part of the show, isn't it? People have been saying that. Like, James, it's part of the show. The mute button is part of the show. And I guess it is. I do not like that sidekick of the mute button. That is not my favorite. You know, out of all the sidekicks that have been employed in the entertainment industry, my mute button is not my favorite. And it probably just heard me say that. It probably heard me say that, and its feelings are hurt. And if it decided you, see, and by building that sympathy from you, by showing that it's the one that holds all the power, it's running this show, and that this technology of cutting me off whenever it wants like this is it's going around. I think that I'm actually projecting the entire experience I've been having since I launched this career. I've been projecting it in this mute button. I've been trying to show you guys. I've been trying to harness witness to the fact that this talk like that when there's a mute between us. It's a horrible experience. That's why I have that sidekick there. That's why. Jungian projection, my friends. Yeah. In case you didn't hear me. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm projecting that. I'm telling you, I'm the one that's doing it. I'm not going to be all like, oh, all the Hottentots are doing this. The Russians are doing this. Them's doing it. They's doing it. You know? It's like pulling up to a car full of chicks and saying, what's y'all's names? It's just like the least common denominator that you could come up with at the time to try and express any kind of responsibility, right? It's brutal. This world is brutal. Okay, I'll stop doing that because you guys probably don't know that I was even doing those on purpose because you're so used to them all the time. But we should be online. Let me check my. Hey, ROKFIN. Good to see you guys. You guys look like that's working. And I see the other kids here is working. And so, yeah, there we go. 58 minutes is a long time to go, Ancient of Days, for muted. I think our record here on the show is I think we made it to 19 minutes, 18 minutes. Probably wasn't 19. I would like to have been. I think it was 18. Moth could probably tell you. If Tina was in here, she could tell you. Tina's still on shore leave. I was up late last night, which is fine. I'm allowed to stay up late now. Was up late because there's this great Telegram group. Check link in the chat. There's a great Telegram group, and man, sometimes these guys come in there and they just make you. They don't make you, but you choose to reevaluate your entire position, and which is healthy, by the way. It's a very healthy thing to do. But you choose to reevaluate your entire position, and you end up losing a lot of sleep from that. And I I had to go over the nuclear bomb thing again. I had to go over it again, and I won't stop going over it personally. But it's so detailed and complicated. It's a really big pain in the ass, actually, to really track it down. It's not like you can sit down in one day and say, okay, so our nuke's real, and then start on that road from square one. It's a lot of work, is all I'm trying to say. There's certainly. This is why I don't like talking shit about QAnon. Although I know by exposing what it was with Bannon, you could see that it's talking like shit. But if anything, I was giving it witness. But the reason why I don't like us talking necessarily negatively about psyops that clearly leads someone down a road, even if it leads to disappointment, I like that disappointment. I like that there's a handrail, a banister on the Death Star that allows you to get to that disappointment. I think that's one of the most helpful things that we could do. Is to constantly make it easier for people to find out quickly that something is wrong. And I think that ridiculing someone before they get a chance to go into that exhibit is just never constructive. If you could picture, please, you're at one of those nature center museums where they're showing you dinosaurs, and you get to walk around a little hole that's been carved into the wall to make it look like a cave, and you're going in there and you're seeing an aquarium, wraparound aquarium that has lizard bones in it, and it's got lights and it's got colors and it's got leaves. Someone actually was like, "Hey, let's find real leaves," and then so they put like real leaves in there, and then they're like, "Let's pour epoxy river," and so they do that, and they're like, "Let's play insect sounds," right? And then they're like, "Yeah, dude, dinosaurs are fucking real, man. Look at all this stuff." And it's, the piece de resistance is, of course, the laminated plaque sign. That's the most important thing, is the laminated plaque sign. That if everything's drawn on that laminated plaque sign, boom, you've got it. Now, you could stand outside and ridicule that exhibit for people that have never been there, and you could think that that's helping, and you could be like, "Yeah, man," because you could do that. Or you could be like, "Yeah, I was in there. Yeah, you should check it out." And then when they come out, then you could be like, "Hey, what you think about that?" You could you could work the other side. I think that's what we're here doing right now. I think we're supposed to be working the other side. That's how I feel with the truckers. The truckers makes me feel like I want to work the other side. I want them to go through that and come out the other side, and I want to be like, "Hey, you want to go outside?" It's like, "Well, what are you going to do outside?" It's like, could light a fire. We could smoke something, have a conversation about what just happened, right? You're pulling them out of the building completely. And I think that's where you're going to find the most dilation. That's where it's going to happen. It's where it has to happen. And when I go into nukes, as we've already been over so many times, the 2,000 that were created in World War II, and not one of them, not a single one of them was fired. Come on, guys. Do we really think that the military is that disciplined where there wouldn't even be an accident? Come on, really? Come on. John McCain literally crashed on the runway strip. What, 2-3 times, I think? One of them was on an aircraft carrier. You don't do that. You don't do that. But it happens all the time. Guys, the SS McCain ran into the side of an oil tanker. An oil tanker. The world's most largest moving target was struck by the SS McCain head on in the daytime. In the daytime. Guys, the Lusitania, the Titanic. Okay, well, it's not that. Okay, we will ignore the taboo of the Titanic. All right? The SS Cole. Do you know how many times the military just fucks up, just runs into each other? Stuff like that. It happens. It's not even a disparaging mark. Dude, it's big. I've been in a plane where the plane backed into the fuel truck. The fuel truck. Holding the gas. James, there's no gas in planes. Okay, the pretend fuel truck. Jesus, guys. Jesus, how do we get this out, right? This is why it's hard to be out here where we're at. This is why there's a smaller audience. Because as someone so eloquently put it in the Telegram yesterday, it was like, dude, if nuclear weapons are actually real, I might as well just be a normie. And really, you might as well. You might as well go there. And I'm not saying don't go there. You know why? Because I want you to experience that walkthrough. I need you to have that. I need you to be completely honest with the entire experience. Okay, I keep making sure I'm not muted, even though I haven't actually touched the button. So I'm not here to talk you into anything. I want you to know, though, that the Michaelson Morley experiment, which happened, 1880, something like that. That experiment wasn't just a one-time thing. I think there's been like thousands of repeats of that exact same experiment. The exact same thing. And basically, you're just shooting lasers at tangent at 90 degrees of each other, perpendicular, measuring the bounce, and trying to see if we are moving through some sort of realm of plasma, of ether, of plankton constants, of something, some sort of substance. And if we lived on a spinning ball Earth, if that was true, this experiment that's been repeated thousands of times would show you the twist of this ball through this substance. The Michaelson Morley thing did 2 experiments, proved 2 things, not 1, 2. The first thing it proved is, holy shit, there's something here. And if you're a materialist, if you want to believe in hydraulics, you're gonna call it a Planck's constant or Planck's particles or something, some stupid shit like that. Because everything has to be a particle to you. Fine, I don't mind. Ball bearings, okay, everything's a ball bearing. Fine. Or you can think of it like plasma. In the electrical universe, you could think of it like plasma. You can move through the plasma. Either way, it doesn't matter. Michaelson Morley proved that A, yes, holy shit, there is something. There's something. And B, it would be impossible for us to be moving through anything at all. Be impossible. It actually proved 3 things. The third thing it proved is there is something moving. This goo is moving. This goo is not moving at the rate of the Earth spinning. This goo is moving at maybe 1/6 of that we live in a toroidal vortex of spinning nothingness that's slowly churning. 4-hour day, not a 24-hour day. That would be the rate that this superfluous plasmic ether or ball bearings, is slowly spinning. Special relativity tried to explain that no. The Earth still is moving, but we can't trace that. We can't see that. We can't measure that. We can't experience that because the rules of space-time themselves make the ruler that we use to measure the rotation of this Earth stretch. And not only does the ruler stretch, but time itself stretches. Your observational density, your dilation even stretches. And there will be no way that any of you can ever prove what I'm saying. Einstein. That's what Einstein says. It's like the kid at school who told you, I have a girlfriend. Wow, really? Yeah, she's redhead. Wow. With green eyes. Wow. Yeah, she's from Ireland. Wow. Yeah, she's really pretty. Wow, man, yeah. Yeah, I touched her boob. Damn, you touched her boob? Yeah. And at no point in time will they ever be able to prove this to you, to show you this girlfriend, to show you a picture of this girlfriend, to show you a letter from this girlfriend. And the entire time they're going to tell you, well, the reason why you can't See her? Is because space-time itself has been warped. And she's so hot that she's into this other dimension. She's into this dimension called Butaneous. And in the Butaneous dimension, you can't see her. But she's here right now. Yeah. And that you, sadly, being the New York Times, you heard that excuse and said, you know what? I'd rather tell the story about you getting fresh boob from an Irish lady with red hair and green eyes from the space world of Butaneous dimension. I'd rather run with that story. That story will sell a lot better. And sure, right now you could stop and go, wait a minute, why would they do that? And we'd have to do a whole show on that. We'd have to do a whole show. I always come back to the archetypal projections. I don't look for they. I come back to the archetypal projections that we have, only because I trust that whoever the fuck made this realm probably kind of fucking knows what they're doing. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that they probably kind of know what they're doing. Just a little bit, right? They probably do. And since they do, I would assume that the last thing they would have to do is, I need you to go convince that sheep right there. I need you to go get down his level and have a sheep-to-sheep conversation and convince that sheep to read this script right here. That sounds so retarded. I don't think any rancher would ever at all try and rely on or even have to trust the sheep ever to fulfill or say something or find something. I do think that the rancher might certainly dictate the area, but that so through flooding, through mudding, through climatorious instigations, you could move the sheep in one place, but you would never ever want to rely on the operations of one sheep or two sheep. You would simply know that these sheep are bred and that they're bred in a certain way. This is kind of like a baker with bread. They're going to be raised in a certain way where a process is going to unfold, and that process is going to be this majority rule fashion that gets applied to everything that they do, from science to virology to religion to everything. And that built into that process, it's going to create their own self-vitriol, which is going to harden each of them and create these other things, and I'm going to get a good crop out of this. This is organic, conscious sheep butt I'm raising. That the consciousness in their brain, you can taste in the flavor of their thighs when you digest them. That the rancher could be as simply running a boutique kitchen in some other place. It's kind of cuckish for us to even worship the maker. This sounds so horrible. This sounds so horrible. But if you follow the thought experiment out, it really does become kind of cuckish for us to worship the rancher himself as some sort of like magnanimous deity. It doesn't mean that we are supposed to rebel. I think that the appropriate reaction from a truly grounded individual would be more of a respect, but never a magnanimous, oh my God, I am your sheep and you are my shepherd and you are here to comfort me all the time, and oh my God, I just love the loving bosom of your arms. I don't think that that's the relationship we have. If it was, I think that we would have a more one-on-one relationship with that rancher, because the fMRI, the built-in network of our face, would be really the best direct input into your soul. It's interesting, right? Because we have that with each other, but we don't worship each other. We don't even consider each other magnanimous. We respect each other. Not always, right? But we learn how dangerous we are. We respect each other so much that we dump atrazine into the water supply. We respect each other so much that we pull salt licks and replace them with new ones every couple decades. And the motivations of those are as much as they want to be. So inside of this magnanimous self-respect, we tell each other stories about nuclear weapons. We tell each other stories about WMDs. We tell each other stories about asteroids, about comets. We tell each other stories about international space stations. We tell each other stories about a space race. We tell each other stories about a Bay of Pigs. We tell each other stories about Ukraine, about healthcare. That's what we do. And so when you first start to doubt nuclear weapons, I want you to really look at why you weren't doubting them from the very beginning. Why was the default to even believe in them? And let's say that they're real. Shouldn't you feel insulted that your government is not lying about some super secret mega bomb? Like, The Art of War, every chapter is about deception. The Fog of War is a feature. Every single writer, every single general, every single president who's ever spoken on war tells you the fog, tells you the deception, tells you it's about that. Every single one. And so why is it the default for a sheep to believe that we have a nuclear bomb? Why is that the base default? Why? Why would it not be the other way? And the reason why it would not be the other way is because we do not want to believe that countries are not what we think they are. And I realize I covered this last time. I'm not going to rehash that stream, even though the title is Putin on the risk. It's because I got a question that is still profound that people don't see this by default. James, why? Sure, James, I heard your stream, but I still don't understand why would Putin want Ukraine to join the EU? That makes no sense. But if you were defaulting to the fog of war as a feature, and you've been doing that this whole time, you would know that's actually one of the few things that does make sense. But you have to get past the belief. You're going to have to go through the entire exhibit and come out the other side. You're going to have to do that. Two ranchers share property with a stream that runs through it. You as the sheep see those two properties as countries. And you know that whoever's in charge of the West Bank has its own flock to take care of, and everyone on the East Bank has their own flock to take care of. And you were brought up as a sheep thinking, I am in the West Bank. I am a vital member of this ranch. I elected its people. I speak for the salt licking that we have found. The hay is good here. Those on the East Bank, they are dangerous. Can you hear how gay it sounds when you start to talk about it? Yeah. We are the East Bank. Our hay is good here. The West Bank is trying to take our hay. And all of that would be self-fulfilling. Island of the Lord of the Flies, right? Meets the island. It's just two different cultures that just self-habitate, self-emulate, self-regulate, and you naturally form that tribe. Now, one day, the rancher on the east is pushing 12 of those sheep through the river. Pushing them through the river. The sheep are freaking out. They're afraid they're going to drown. They're just like, they don't know what's going on. And they're pushing them to the other side. Physically put them on the West Bank. And the sheep would never be able to comprehend at all, as to why the rancher on the East Bank would not want to have 12 sheep. Why would that happen? And that's where the density is so provoking, so thought-provoking, that it shows the whole thing as so easy that it's hard to miss. The farmers, they work better as friends. They do better as cohabitating between these rivers. The river helps them because it allows them to simply track their property better. It would be well and good. It would be natural. There could be many, many reasons why one of these farmers would say, hey, you're trying to shrink your sheep population and I'm trying to grow mine. So how about you give me 12 of your sheep and I'm going to let you borrow my tractor. And that relationship not only is common, that would be necessary for you to survive. That if you're going to survive as a rancher on a land with sheep, you're going to be utilizing what's in your environment. And what's in your environment are other ranchers or other herders. Putin gains nothing except for more border space by taking over Ukraine, right? He's literally touching all of Europe now, and it's now his responsibility. Before Putin, Ukraine is an independent sheep that's not inside of any realm. It's not on the West Bank, it's not on the East Bank. It's in this wild territory, and that sheep is making things a little bit more of a pain in the ass. That because these sheep that aren't on the West Bank or aren't on the North Bank, or they're on this island inlet in the center, that it makes it a little bit inconvenient for us to track and count our sheep because these other sheep aren't really in a flock yet. And so you as the Russian sheep, it doesn't really matter if you get the sheep or if your neighbor gets the sheep. That's not really your goal. You have plenty of sheep. Russia has plenty of land. No one in Russia is like, oh my God, where are we going to put things? We're out of space. We have to take more space. That is, territory has been one of the biggest lies you've been told when it comes to war. That the excuse of territory is really what's happening underneath these eugenic equations that are happening. Thank you, Graham Greenwood. Good to see you. These genetic equations predefine all politics. And Putin, he benefits if the EU grows. He benefits if he grows. There's really nothing, if anything, it's more about, let's just get this shit done. Let's just make this cleaner. It makes no difference how many sheep he has. Because the threat, the biggest threat that Putin faces would be autonomy. Would be self-autonomy. That would be much, much bigger than him losing some extra sheep and some extra land. The benefit is stabilization. There's not a farmer out there that's like, I really want to just like cut down all my fences and just let my cattle really explore themselves as individuals. And then if they choose to come back later and then we can have a symbiotic relationship with him. Look, there's probably going to be some boutique farmers that are doing that, and God bless them. But once you have more than 12 head of cattle, it's just going to start to get unmanageable. And you're just going to notice after a while, maybe I'll let like a few cows do that. But really, the most of them, I just need them in this program. And that program's going to have vaccines. That program's going to have hormones. That program's going to have fencing. That program's going to have automatic milking machines. That program's going to have troughs. That program's going to have propaganda. That program's going to have systems that lock the neck and keep it pointed in a certain way. A wild cow wandering through your ranch would just fuck shit up. Mess it up. So Ukraine is a problem, and the solution doesn't really involve it being on either side, EU or Russia. It just involves it being on a side, that's all. And there's no they there. I'm not trying to explain to you that Putin has this secret, that he's a secret puppet of anything else. I think that you see actually what I'm explaining to you is no, it's not a puppet thing at all. This comes much more down to the economics of stabilizing your operation. There is a strategic advantage to Ukraine being swallowed up by the same entity he already has a working relationship with. Well, James, why would two wrestlers go out to dinner after the... Oh. Yeah, they'd probably go to Waffle House together. Yeah, they probably would. They probably would. They'd probably go to Waffle House quicker with you, with the other wrestler, than they would with a fan who thinks it's all real. That the last thing they'd want to do is go to Waffle House with someone that thinks that it's real. That would suck. Why they'd have to be holding that costume on the whole time. They'd have to be... There's no loyalty between ruler and people. Between slave and master, there's no loyalty. It's a relationship. It's a symbiotic relationship. And we got to stop pretending that it's not. We got to stop pretending that, oh, well, one was oppressed. No, no one was oppressed. This is what it takes to be sovereign. You're going to crawl on your knees for a while, and that's going to look like slavery. It's going to look like that. Special relativity was like a pea pad. Slipped in between reality that's explained as this is something you can't see, you can't touch, you can't taste, none of it, but we're actually spinning. It's the perfect propaganda. It would be necessary if you were trying to implement the lie that you had a weapon that could destroy the entire world. If you were a sheep and someone told you that the rancher had a weapon that could destroy the entire world, you would want to look after your rancher. You'd be like, oh, I hope that rancher's okay. Hey, can I get you something, Farmer Todd? You need something? Oh, you want me to help you with that? Hey, don't trip. Don't trip. You need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of yourself. You develop that kind of relationship with him. And if you knew the East Bank had the same weapon, well, shit. You'd really start taking care of him, wouldn't you? You'd cuck to him worse than we might be cucking to God, when maybe the entire thing is he just likes to eat people that have consciousness. It just could be that way. And you know what? There's worse things to be eaten by, you know? Would you rather be eaten by God or a hyena, you know? Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe it is. I don't know what's going on. Shit. Don't be coming here thinking my lips are unprunable, you know? Because we'll never have a relationship that way. I don't want to go to Waffle House with you if you think I have all the answers. And if you don't like Waffle House, you can just get the fuck out, you know? Just go. I'm just kidding. Some of you may not like Waffle House, but I think it's one of the last bastions. You know, they were one of the few nationwide corporations that was like, fuck this whole jibby-jab stuff. Yep. Truckers, Waffle House, right? There's... You see it. You see it. Is this going to work? Okay, I'll get that better. There is... Yeah, here it is. Wait. This might work. No. No. I'm getting ready to say, if you guys have any questions, I'm getting ready to start that. This is a very poor example of me starting the airing of grievance. I want you to imagine a slurping. The airing of grievance. the air in grievance. Yeah, let's see if we got any questions or grievances here. Oh, I need to tell you about Sputnik. We got to talk about Sputnik too. But this is a good time to be calling that in. Grievance, we don't have a Waffle House here. Oh, that is sad. Oh, you poor thing. You need to come over here. Man, that would be the best Waffle House ever. To go there with Sarah. I mean, the moth. The quality of this intro. My grievance is this intro. That's a great grievance. Thank you, Nate. I appreciate that. Yep. That's my favorite one so far. So Sputnik, actually, I want to tell you about Sputnik. You guys realize that if you wanted like a one punch, what is the clearest proof that countries aren't what we think they are in relation to Putin? It would be Sputnik. Can you guys hear me? Am I muted? Sputnik. That within 2 years, two countries were competing for something kind of just what? This idea of launching a satellite in space. And that you really see the emergence of why these ranchers work together. They were building the same fence. They both decided, hey, if we put a post up here, we could save money on barbed wire. And that was the space race. That was the space race. It was 2 years apart. And the entire time they've been telling you that we're in an arms race. And what happens during an arms race? We as the West Bank go, we got to make more weapons. We got to make more weapons. Make more weapons. We will make more weapons. Let's use all our resources to make more weapons. Hey guys, we should make more weapons. And you think the entire time that the East ranchers like, oh my God, I'm afraid. And the East ranchers not afraid. These ranchers like, look at those guys. Look at them build their weapons. That's so great. He's not afraid at all. Why would the West Bank rancher come attack us when the West Bank rancher is making our sheep work their ass off for arms? Look at their arms races. Look at these arms. They're cute little arms, like little hobby horse elves at the North Pole making their weapons for each other. Telling each other, we're going to deliver these weapons to all the boys and girls all over the world so we can give them the presence of safety. And the East Bank and the West Bank are both profiting from that because both of them are making weapons. Giving them something to do. It's the salt lick that keeps the sheep in the field. You want a sheep that's content. You want a sheep that has enrichment. Right? If the sheep knew everything, it might just sit there. It might turn black. It might be a black sheep. It could. So these things make more sense when you understand that these two sides are working together and they're using the illusion of having countries in between you. That it's a respectful relationship, which is why the UN has 33 parts. It's why the UN plays the 33 tone every time it starts. That's why every time you're looking at sentiment, you're also looking at the will of predator. The will of predator will always be in the sentiment. And predator will always get fed first. One of the biggest mistakes we have is we think, oh, the Russians just launched an offensive against Ukraine. So the predator is getting ready to do something. This is the biggest hole that we have. Is that when we see something like that, we think the predator is getting ready to be fed. He's getting ready to be fed. And you don't understand how predator works. Eagle, owl, lion, panther. None of them tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, I need you to move first so that I can eat you. That is not how a predator works. The very, very, very first thing that happens is the predator takes. The very first thing. Which means when you're looking at the entire operation of Ukraine unwrap and you're watching Russia, they've already won. They've already won. Putin doesn't have to secure something. He doesn't have to shut down something. Don't you understand that the moment that he moved into Kiev, and he took his sacrifice was, you could call it, if there's a sacrifice at all, his sacrifice could be political clout. Because now the sheep are only going to suck his schlong 6 days a week instead of 7. That's what he's looking at. They're still going to beg him for food. They're still going to beg him, hey, can we make more arms? They're still going to say, hey, can I go to war? Can I be a sheep warrior? I want to be a warrior. I want to monitor the East Bank and shoot any sheep that comes over here. That's all built in. He doesn't fucking care, nor should he. He wouldn't be able to stay in power if he did. Same with Trudeau, and I know you guys don't like that because you're like, well, fuck. I don't think that Trudeau is an independent sovereign person, as much as I don't think a cowboy that's working for a rancher is an independent sovereign rancher. And honestly, most of the time, the cowboys have to put on a clown outfit. Most of the time, the cowboys have to dress in really, really bright clothing. Most of the time, the cowboys are reading a script. There's no autonomy in any of those subjects. None. And you're never going to see the rancher. Why would you? Why would the rancher come out there and make sure all the cows knew his name? The second one cow knows a rancher's name, he can call him names when he comes out the door in front of his wife. You could say, hey, Bill. Hey, Billy, saw your wife's ass last night. Yeah, I saw it, right? That would be an entirely different relationship. The first thing, and what would be the first thing that Billy the rancher would do? He'd eliminate that cow. He wouldn't be like, oh, well, let me liberate you and let you watch me and my wife. That's not going to happen. I mean, it could on some ranch, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to speak for all ranchers. I'm not a rancher. But I know how easy it is to watch us do this stuff. Watching kids get on planes telling everybody, oh, I'm flying over to Ukraine because what is happening there is horrible and we must stop this oppression. And really the prana economy underneath is, I want to experience the dilation of war, but we do not have war where I am, so I'm getting on a plane to go find it elsewhere. And that would be right up the rancher's alley. Let's put a caliente salt lick up and see which ones of our sheep like spicy food. Let's gather them all in one place. And you don't know if the rancher's going to keep the ones that like the spicy food or the ones you don't know. So that's why it comes more down to respect. Not reverence, but respect. It's a subtle difference there. Not veneration, sorry. Reverence would be closer to respect. Veneration. That it may not be the necessarily even the proper way to address your rancher. Veneration may not be it. It may not be it because you are not really able to you can try to put yourself in his shoes and say, what would influence me the most? And probably what would influence you the most would be, well, let me look it up. I can't remember what it said. I used to know. You know what would do it? Is some pig. Right? If one of those sheep was to say, my name's Wilbur, that would be pretty profound. I think that would probably be your best bet if you really wanted to appeal to the rancher. It would be something like, hey man, my name's Wilbur. If you could learn to speak his language and say, hey man, my name's Wilbur, that would really throw him off. Would that give you a golden ticket into his couch to lay at his feet? Probably not. It could. Could get you sold to something. You don't know, right? And this is the beauty of sanctity. You should do things not because you will survive. You should do things because they feel right to you. Seriously. Because what if you do something because you think you'd survive and then you find out at the end, holy shit, this is exactly not the way I was going to survive. That would suck so much more than saying, oh, I did this because it felt right and now I'm dying. But man, it did feel right. Here I go. I'm dying now. And the truth is that no one wants to tell you is that death actually isn't hard. It's true. When survivors are pulled from being mauled by bears, wolves, when they're mauled, they're describing a euphoric event. They don't even call it mauled. They'll say the bear took me in its arms. And what does that mean? The bear sunk its claws into my back and squeezed, and ruptured my rib cage. The bear took me into its arms. That's how it felt. The euphoric condition is built into that. So even the idea of doing something for survival, even the idea of doing something because you fear death is faulty, and it will cheat you in the end. You will notice that. Which is why you should really be doing something, because it feels right to you. It feels like the right decision. And that's the sanctity part, right? It's not survival, it's sanctity. Let's see if I caught any more grievances here. Government is good, says Jason Starr. Oh, you poor thing. Enjoy. Dojo Earth bullies my victimhood. Thank you, Adam. Thanks for the super chat. More Davy Crockett's. You can make your own waffles, but it'll never be Waffle House. It never will. The Russian vaccine was called Sputnik. Interesting, Johnny B. The last thing that would make sense is that everyone's telling you the truth. The very, very last thing that would ever, ever, ever make sense is that every single weapon has been disclosed to you. And even worse than that, it would make even less sense that the military wasn't lying about their firepower. You should be insulted as a taxpayer if they're not. I'm serious. You should be insulted as a taxpayer that they would not leak plans to you about a nuclear sub that actually runs on fucking batteries. And I don't know. I'm just telling you that it would you should be insulted if they're not doing that. You should be insulted if they weren't lying about Sataloons. You should be insulted because there would be no one there who's looking out for the enrichment of the sheep on the West Bank. Because if we do not have enrichment here, this entire flock will break down. The wool will deteriorate because people will be wandering aimlessly saying, that salt lick isn't real, man. That salt lick is not real. And they would suffer, and they would stop drinking, they would stop eating, and it would not be good for the West Bank farmer rancher. It would not be good. Nor would it be good for the East Bank farmer rancher. It wouldn't. That he would miss the ability to use that tractor. He would miss the ability to only have to pay for half of his fence. That would hurt him, not help him, which is why he will reach out and help the other side. And the bank that controls both of them only wants them both to survive, doesn't really care which sheep are on what side, who's loyal to what, where you buy the salt, the flavor of the salt, none of it. All it cares about is the preservation of that asset. You are the one that cares about you, not the shepherd. You are the shepherd of you, and that is hard because some of you guys either don't feel like you deserve it or don't want the responsibility. And so you look to things like weapons, you look to things like government, and the only way that you can hold government true when you're around people like me is to believe in nuclear weapons. I'm telling you, it is the glue that you need to feel like this is all legitimate. And it's wrong. It's not true. It's dogma and it's a religion. And you're going to have to grow up. You're going to have to grow up. I will keep looking at nuclear weapons. I will keep trying to figure out which part I've missed here and why would America and Russia be 2 years apart when it comes to a space race? And Iran has watched other countries enrich uranium 60-fold times. And here it is 6 decades later, and they're still 6 months away from a nuclear bomb. Stop lying to yourself. Stop. Just stop. Seriously. You might as well say Gaddafi was the only person that was causing trouble in the Middle East and we had to kill him. You might as well say that, well, clearly they were WMDs of Saddam Hussein. You might as well say those things. Because nothing in nature works that way. Nothing. This brilliant idea you have of a centralized power it's not once in nature. Nor is there a chickadee that's wandering around with a suicide button that can take this whole world out. And I get how dilated you'd be every single time you saw a chickadee if you had to believe, oh my God, it's going good. Yeah, I get that that would make you so happy. Because deep down you know it's not real. But you know your rational mind will believe it. So you're watching a titty movie. There's a girl in a flannel shirt, daisy shorts, is running away, going, oh no, the nuclear weapon is coming to get me. Oh, I've tripped. Oh, I landed on my bosoms, thank goodness. That's the nuclear weapon. It's allowing you to stay your ass in the dark seat of government and go, I'm happy here. I got my salt. I got my sugar. Fuck, man. I ain't going out that exit. Plus, the last time I saw somebody open that door, I couldn't see for 3 minutes. Holy shit. It's bright out there. So, challenge what you want. Construct your plasma. But man, we could be getting so much more done. We could be getting so much more done if we'd stop believing in this government thing. Seriously. Seriously, if we'd stop making weapons, start making our own, right? Go to war, man. I think people need war. I think war's natural. And I think if we were good stewards of the land, we would create a place where people that naturally have that deep desire to experience war, the dilation of war, could go and do that. And I think maybe that's probably what's happening right now. I think that's probably what's happened in the last couple wars we've had. And so that's why I'm always coming back to the soldier. Hey, why don't we hold the soldier responsible? There's a novel fucking idea. Oh, you shot someone because of some politic you heard? Maybe you're the fucking idiot. Maybe you did something wrong. Maybe the PTSD is because you did something wrong, but no one's allowing you to hear that. It's a whole other world. But when we leave the fence, man, we ain't going to have a salt lick like that. We're going to be Lord of the Flying each other. We are. We're going to be Lord of the Flies with each other because we don't have that ranch. And that really is the motivation as to why so many are still into this. It's going to take a while. And you shouldn't invest in this fixing itself. Nor should you invest in how it's even going to get worse. It's only going to get worse if you're hanging out with people that are enjoying the salt lick, right? It's only going to get worse because you are colluding with sheep that believe in the system. That's really the only way it gets worse. The more you dismiss that, the more you create evacuations in your life for others to find you. Someone said of the airship show Saturday, they're like, oh my God, this show makes me feel like I'm not alone. It's like, exactly. But you can't be carrying this salt bullshit into this camp. You can't. We can't have this camp where we're just like, yeah, nuclear weapons are real. It's just a coincidence that no one's ever dropped one or bombed one or traded one or sold one. And Iran, well, are 6 months away, thank God. So it's still coming. You can't bring that shit here. You can, but I don't want to camp with you because I got shit to do. I'm working on this wild garlic garden where like we've decentralized the garlic and we've like squirrels, we've hidden garlic from each other. And I know it's just garlic, but it's a start, man. It's a start. Now we got garlic everywhere, right? We're Johnny Appleseeding this place. Every time you see a shelter on the AT, I want you to look at the shelter and I want you to walk 50 paces to your right, exactly 50, and I want you to plant some cannabis seeds there at every shelter. And these are the urban runes that we leave each other. We carve them into the post. And I don't need you to come to the fucking campfire and tell me another fucking Marvel story about how Marvel told this story about this. Why the fuck are you bringing that here? Why are you bringing nuclear weapons here? You are here. You are human. You have witness. You have value. Why the fuck do you want to regurgitate the salt that used to come to you back on the ranch? I thought the entire purpose of us coming up to this ridgetop to start this fire was to live as sovereign. Which means we cannot think in these stupid terms like Sputnik and Iran and Putin in Ukraine. It's very preachy, isn't it? I'm very preachy. I hope you enjoy that. I'm not saying it's right, but maybe it's at least entertaining. I didn't even mean to be, but that's what's up. Send him to... Yeah. The Rose Hermit. Send him to kill each other. Fuck me. The worst part of it is that I feel for him. Like, I feel for him too. Do you know why I feel for him? Because my dad was one of them. And my dad died doing that. And that's why it's funny as hell. People are like, you don't know what it's like. And I'm like, bitch, what did you just fucking say? What did you just fucking say? And if anything, we should be pollinating people that are saying what I'm saying. We should be helping that. I'm not saying you have to help me, but I'm saying that if you really, really believe that war is wrong, then you would be finding people that are saying what I'm saying and retweeting them, quoting them. Helping to establish the stigma that maybe this shit's wrong, that maybe we need to reject all that stuff, and stop bringing me the fucking stories about it. Stop telling me how ultra super powerful government is, but you don't have the, or even worse, showing me a fucking FOIA request document like that's real. Holy shit. Oh my God. Anyone in the Navy can publish something and declare it classified if you have the rating. And if you can get someone to sign off on it. Anyone can do that. There's not a fact checker. There's not a bunker. You know what's funny? Excuse me. It's funny because we talk about we have to debunk. You have to debunk. You have to debunk things. And they were never bunked. They're never bunked. And so we end up having to burn extra, like 1,000 times more calories we have to burn because wouldn't it be great if everything they told us was true? Think of how many calories we'd save if we could just, and my answer to you is, are you kidding? If you're going to believe everything they said true by default, you are not going to be able to work here. You're not going to be able to help anyone because every single new regurgitated photon that comes out of the thing, we know that you automatically are going to believe until one of us spends enough calories staying up all night, rereading their notes to come back to you and say, why do you fucking believe that? Why do you fucking believe that? What fuel did you put into believing that? Because the answer is none. It's none. So be a Zetetic. Stop being a bitch. Be a Zetetic. Be a Zetetic, which means, guess what? I don't need you to be right. I need you to tell me what it is you can directly experience. And I can directly experience how necessary and important it would be to implement a fog of war if you were in the business of war. I can Zetetically see that. I can show it to you. I've lived in it. I served in that. All of us have. And all of us have seen the effects of it. So at what point do we get to start to use those Zetetic calories as the default? And the answer is none because of how colorful the propaganda is that's flying overhead. But oh, look at the photons. They're so beautiful. CERN has to be real, James. Why? Why? Do you know why CERN has to be real? Because you like it. Because it makes you feel better. That's why it has to be real. Because thinking about a world that's that full of so much psychopathy and so much lies and so much brilliant manipulation and more importantly, so much gullibility is not tenable. That is not a good appetite to have. So we have to turn it around and say, no, this is real and this is real and this is real and this is real. And then all we do is put up curtains that prove you can't get behind this curtain to even prove or disprove it. You smell right away when you're talking to someone. What is their dilation principle? What is their relationship to this dilation that they have? And most of it, people aren't even in the fucking room. They're addicted to their dilation story, and they want you to become addicted to it too. So when you're scrolling through these groups, you're seeing the descriptions are like, oh my God, the most important information that you've ever seen is only found here. And you see the prana economy underneath. You see it underneath. These are zetetic emotional tracers, and we're ignoring them because of the propaganda is too salty. It's so salacious that we cannot imagine. Well, wait a minute. I don't want to hear about Michaelson Morley. That sounds boring. And it is, and it's hard. The reason why it's hard is because it's supposed to be. Because that's how liars work. Look at what's happening in Ukraine. A reality television star who starred on a show where he's an innocent man who gets elected president has been elected president. And that the people that hired him to be the president were in fact the bad guys. And the best way to hide some bad guys hiring an actor to serve fake as a president would be to claim that no. You're just thinking that the reality show is real. And it's not. That's the reality show. The reality show is that they're bad guys. No, this is real. See, can't you see how anyone else would fall for this? And it's an instant, brilliant form of camouflage. And it's the exact same form of camouflage that you see over and over and over and over again. All of your politics is built on that. Do you really think that AOC, Alexandra Cortez, do you really think she's in a white pantsuit right now, hanging outside of a fence, crying because there's immigrants on the other side? Do you seriously? Do we really need to have that default when we wake up in the morning? Is, oh well, someone's got to go help fucking Billy over there because he believes that there's nukes again. And so we're not out here forging a new Aquarius. We're out here trying to fucking chop off and prune all the cancer that came with us from the East Bank. You're going to have to use your Zetetics. You're going to have to stop. You're going to have to stop buying that shit. And more importantly, you got to start taking responsibility for what you sell. A Zetetic is never going to care if you're wrong. Never. Never. A true Zetetic is never going to care if you're wrong. A true Zetetic is simply going to be looking at the experiences that you were dictating to them and determining what might be a hypothetical truth should they experience it. So even a true Zetetic is not going to believe you. And just because you're out here and you're in the wilderness squad with us, and each of us have our bobcat and our bear badge, that now we believe each other. And that's not how it fucking works. This tribe is a tribe of one. A tribe of one. That one is you. You. And we don't want you here if you were not one. The Borg. The Borg's favorite motto is where we go one, we go all. We are not that. We are where we go one, that person goes because their experience led them there. And I have the experience of listening to someone else's experience. That's the experience I have. I don't have the experience of the event. I have the experience of listening to someone tell me the event. And all the truth is there, and that truth isn't even going to come in these rational words. That I'm going to watch that person's body behavior. I'm tracking their historical psyche, right? I'm looking at their psychology from day one. Because I don't think that you are in charge of your faculties. For me to think that would be pretty stupid. That I know that you have your own motivations and your own prana economy too. And that you coming in here saying that could be something related to something completely different that you have no idea about. Which is why I only have an experience of you sharing your experience with me. And I can divulge things that you actually never told me. Most of the truth that you pick up from other people was not actually told to you. It was truth that you intuited from what they told to you. It's true. If you were to start to track these, you'd be amazed that probably 85% of your simulation quotient of someone else is not based on things they've said. It's been based on things they've not said, and it's been based on their posture while they were saying it. It's probably more than 85%. Let's say 3% they listen to your words, 97% they're tracking you. They're simulating you. They're witnessing you. And you want that. Which is why this world cannot be run by people with scripts. Because that idea that they're following a script is pretending that this whole mind is in charge all the time and they can analyze their own body and their own feelings 24/7 and their willpower is strong enough that they can squeeze their sphincter from the time they woke up until the time they went to bed. And that's not how we're run. We're run by the keel. We're not run by the crow's nest. We're run by the keel. Look at nuclear reactors. Tease put a fantastic video on BitChute up. Sorry, I don't have a link for that. I actually recorded it, though, talking about the fraud of even what we consider radioactive and the lengths that we go to carry on that idea. And it's all for this war machine. It's all for the fog of war, which is important. That's never going to change. You're not going to be able to say, hey, you guys, you can keep fighting, but you have to be honest. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. You know, when the British were coming over here and they were using their volley lines of fire, they weren't doing that because they were gentlemen. They did that because it was effective as fuck. It was. In the open field, that volley of fire, that is a serious, serious, serious tidal wave of lead and power. And we're doing that because, like, oh, we must take our... No. Now, they I think it was, I can't remember, there's some fort. It was like the attack of some fort. That was the last time they even used that. That tactic changed immediately because it wasn't going to work against this kind of enemy. It wasn't as effective, mainly because of the groves. There's too many fucking trees here. If we could knock out these trees, we'd have an effective volley, but we can't. So we have to fight differently. So don't expect this to change. It's not going to change. Guys, there's nothing wrong with the world being full of deceit. It's not. It's not. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you're offended by it, all you're doing is burning precious energy that you need because it's not going to change. That deceit is teaching you something. It's teaching you to use your discernment. And that's what's reaping right now. That's the rapture is happening right now with that. It's rapturing your discernment about something. Let it. Embrace the world of deceit. Understand that the most beautiful thing that could happen right now is that you could learn about deceit. The reason why is because when you learn to discern deceit, you will learn to discern garlic that you've never knew was there the whole time. That it will be right behind the deceit. So the most precious truffles your piggy little nose has ever smelled. Gather ye truffles while you may. Embrace the world of deceit. It will make you value truth even more. It will make you sharpen your experience and watch your prana economy. It will make you sharper and you will find more energy in this world, not less. More. BitChute. The BitChute one's going to be harder. The BitChute is not necessarily all about, it's more about the radiation. You're looking at a guy, Glenn, I wish Teask was here, but I think he's on a different time zone than we are, so he's not always in here. It's going to be a lot of scrolling. Maybe someone will help you. Maybe someone will have it there. It's going to be a lot of scrolling, though. There's been a lot of talk in this group since that came up. Anyway. Oh, good. Someone's actually just doing the Michaelson Morley in there, too. But I'm sorry. I shouldn't look. Seriously, it'll take me a long time to scroll it up there. I'm sorry. I'm hoping someone will find that link for you. I recorded it in... if I do a show about nukes... I'll definitely put part of it in there. The truth of the matter is that there's an energy embargo and that people want it that way. And if you don't have constriction on the top, that energy is not going to work. If you cannot control the flow of energy, an abundance energy would never work. You're going to have something that you can control. And atomic energy is not going to work because of that. It's a multi... That is one of the most brilliant psyops ever. And the constriction, the bottleneck of that information is why it's so profitable. Same with CERN. There's a bottleneck there. Galen Windsor, thank you. Oh, Teese is in their house. Awesome. Thank you, Teese. Good to see you. Teese, thank you for posting that. I had seen Galen's work a long time ago, but it was part of my refresher yesterday. Yeah, we'll do a show like that. I want to do a show specifically about that. It's in my book, but not everybody wants to read. It's in Blueprints of Mind Control, the Folly of Relativity or something like that. But it would be a good show, and there's a lot more data you could put to it, especially when you're looking at the Sputnik race. That the Sputnik race was a slow... it was an unroll of two people lying about the same technology. And keep in mind that right after Sputnik, we had to lie about the Roswell. And that the best way to hide the fact that you had a satellite balloon would be to call it an alien. It's seriously it shows you how talented the military is at propaganda war. It shows you that they're seriously just light years ahead anyone's discernment, and how unhealthy it is for you to even be pushing classified documents. I mean, even pushing those FOIA documents. I'm not saying don't, but I'm saying that you don't realize just how steeped in propaganda those things really are, and how necessary and important they are, that you spread them. That's what makes it so tenable. Yes, Pi. The Enochian magic of our age. The complexity of the language, the Enochian language, is what so many people... To learn the Enochian language, you're going to have to put, 10, 12 years into backwards angel script writing while someone's cucking your wife and shit like that, and that the expense gets so high after a while that it's just easier to believe it. And that the exact same thing is happened with the nuclear bombs thing. It's a nuclear bomb thing, by the way. I'm not trying to say that the whole nuclear thing isn't real. But when you find the constriction, here's what I want you to consider doing. I've done this several times. It works amazingly well. I can't say it's bulletproof. In fact, I should outline this more. But you know how if you know what crawdads are, if you know what they look like, if you know where they like to be, if you know what time of day you're apt to find them, you can go to the river or the creek and not actually look for crawdads. You can actually look for the shadow rocks that you think a crawdad would be most likely to be underneath. And if you spend enough time hunting these crawdads, you find that the best way you will find more crawdads by looking for the rocks, not the crawdads. And that because we believe everything by default, we believe that there are no crawdads unless we see one. And I want you to believe that I want you to think that you are a crawdad census taker, and that you are going to the river and you were simply looking, and then you were seeing and you're counting how many crawdads you see, which most of the time is 0. But every time you see that crawdad, there's actually 12 there. There's 12. And all the skill that you have, you're going to uncover maybe 2. You're going to find maybe 2 of them. And you're going to feel clever as fuck. You're going to be like, dude, I'm the crawdad whisperer. I'm the crawdad rock whisperer. And I want you to apply the exact same hunting techniques to lies. I want you to think about that wherever you find a bottleneck of information, every single time, I mean this, every single time you find a bottleneck of information, you will find psychopaths wrapped around its teat. And that they will not be trying to open the hole longer. They will actually be trying to constrict it and direct it right into their mouth only. And that if you really understand this bottlenecking, you will find that climate change, you will find that evolution, you will find virology, you will find anything above 50,000 feet, literally anything, anything below 50,000 feet to be these bottlenecks. Anything smaller than an electron, and smaller, you are entering into a bottleneck. There's no such thing as taking a video of electrons. You can cast one image. You can quantumly determine, I will see what's through this slit. That's it. Everything else is a bottleneck. And that if you find those bottlenecks, you will tell yourself, I should be insulted that there would not be a giant propaganda lie behind CERN. You should be insulted that there isn't. You should be worried about the world, that maybe it wasn't as awesome as you thought it was. That life itself was not as prolific as you thought it was. And you will only see 2 out of 12 crawdads. You will only see that many. And you will be proud of yourself because you will see 40,000% more crawdads than anyone else will. And that is the jungle. And if you work really hard your whole life and you study and you practice and you follow your prana economy, maybe you'll see 3. But even when you see that 3, no one else is going to believe you. Because at best, maybe they can see 2. So this thing isn't even solved. That's how beautiful nature is. Yeah, our cosmology would be a bottleneck, right? Where we came from, there's a bottleneck. Who knows? So what do? You start telling stories and you start writing them down. The person that has the oldest stories wins. Why? Because someone has to win. The psychopath knows that. The psychopath would say, let's make a lot of copies of our scriptures. Let's do it right now. Do you know how expensive it is to hire monks? Yes, I know. But we've been, we got a tabernacle. Shit, everything's covered in gold. These people keep bringing us more animal sacrifices because they hate themselves. It's a lot of meat we sell. Yes, they sold that meat. Yes, they actually had a barbecue outside. That was a barbecue. They fed the poor. You don't think that that was profitable in some way? You don't think that all that profit, all that gold, all that work wouldn't go into something about making their religion stronger? You don't think that they would make that religion stronger simply by making more copies of their scripture and just waiting? These people believe that they waited 40 years in the desert with no food. But Moses, my butthole, it hurts so much, If they're willing to do that, why would they not be willing to use the fog of war, the fog of creation, to install some propaganda that makes their side feel more better, feel more powerful, feel more believable? It'd be important. You'd be proud to be of those people because you'd be like, look at how far we've come. Holy shit. What can I do now to help, right? You'd see all that. You would. You would, because you've grown up. You've left that farm where magnanimously the West is right and the East is wrong. How stupid is that? Think about that. And you guys decided that the way to cleanse yourselves back then was, let's just pick one of us. One of our sheep that thought too much, and let's burn him. Let's shave him, tar him, and feather him, and then burn him. Or, let's take one of their sheep. Yeah, let's do that. That sounds even better. Yeah, let's sneak over there and take one of their sheep and tar him and feather him. That'll help. Galen Windsor on BitChute. Thank you. Thank you, Shitmoth. Galen Windsor on BitChute. There's the link right there. That's one. It's a great one. It's like 4 different interviews in there. They're all broken down. Now, he's not going to tell you what I'm talking about. If you want to look into that, you're going to have to, I think Glowbusters is like the ultimate source. But in order to find some of those discussions, because they're pretty involved, this is a pretty deep thing. But if you just start to look up Michaelson Morley, you will find something there. I think that I actually have, if this thing will let me switch accounts in the middle of a stream, I think that I have, this is not the end-all be-all, but if you're curious about Michaelson Morley, and seriously, this is just a start. You would only be able to start here. What I mean is that there's some other experiments where where this, hang on a second, you might hear something. It got the Wikipedia coupon. The flat Earth model is an archaic and scientifically disproven conception of Earth's shape as a planet or disk. If there was not a bigger sign that you should look at something, it's look at these Wikipedia coupons that they put at the bottom, at the top of videos. The reptilians is one of those. Morley? This is just one, by the way. This isn't even Glowbusters, but it was just one I hadn't seen before. I always like to see everyone different saying that. The reptilians. The second he said reptilians. I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, okay, great. So we have those links in there too. Yeah, it is a great topic. It's important. Sorry if I sounded preachy. But I need you to if you're going to believe in nuclear bombs, can you just do your fucking homework, please? Can you come back and say, you know what? I believe in nuclear bombs and I believe that the reason why special relativity, even though it's hypothetically not able to even be proved, that it is actually true because of this 27-year-old graduate girl that they said took a photo of a black hole. Or my grandmother worked in Manhattan Project, and because she got paid, nuclear weapons are real. Or whatever it is, just come with something. Come with something. Don't bring that shit to the fire. Actually, bring that shit to the fire, but you're going to get burned. You're going to get burned. And it's not because I want to even believe it. I just, how many times do I need to stop and spend another 6 or 8 hours just reviewing my notes when we're showing these people these other movies and they don't have time to even look at them? Bring it. Yeah. If you type Michaelson Morley into YouTube, you're going to have to scroll a long time. A long time. I tried to do Glowbusters, Michaelson Morley is what I tried to type in. And I still wasn't able to see a single Glowbuster episode. Not one. And I didn't do Jeranism in that. That might be worth it. He might actually have an episode that's on that. But it's not even just those guys. It's not. That link I sent you was from neither of them. It's just something to consider. More importantly, I need you to prove that they're real. Can you just prove they're real before we make the assumption that they are? Can we do that with everything now? Can we please just do that with everything? Because there's never going to be, AP and Reuters are never going to stop telling you shit. They're never going to do that. They're always going to be telling you that stuff. Okay? There's no way to get around it. And so if the default is, because something was interesting, I believe it now, we're never going to get anywhere. You might as well be preaching Marvel movies to me, which is just, oh God, I can't handle that. Those aren't our archetypes. That's Stan Lee. If you want to believe that Stan Lee is your mystical guru that's in charge of your younging archetypes, fine. But fucking go back to the West Bank. Because all the salt's there, man. All that salt is there. Those people love that stuff. Go do that. Go lick that salt. Well, let's build something off experience. Why am I preaching? Do what you want. Do what you want. It's not even my Telegram group. It's Sark's Telegram group. For all I know, Sark could be like, I'm tired of James's shit. I'm going to throw his ass out. That could totally happen. It wouldn't be the first time. You know, the guy get kicked out. I get kicked out of more shit than I get let in. That's for damn sure. This stuff's hard work. You know it, Zarkov. You know it. All right, guys. We'll close it out. Hey, I might have a surprise tonight for you. I think this is probably some huge news. Let me see if I have okay, I don't have I can't tell you yet. But something really freaking cool might happen tonight at 9 p.m. Yep. It might. I hope it does. You say never now, Sark, but I You don't understand how talented I am. James, how is your movie going? I wish it was going better, Tease. My movie, if you were on Patreon, you have also, I think if you're on J True Witness there, I've put out a preview. The last time anyone's seen progress on two things, the DAO and the movie, both of these things. This is great. I'm going to actually talk about this. Thank you, Tease. The movie, in December, I released couple minutes of about maybe 15 different scenes that are in the if you don't know, I've written a screenplay, The Hidden Hand, and started using the Unreal Engine to render this movie as an animated piece. And to do that, I built the initial opening scene, which has a character, like 4 different sets. Actually, it's got 2 characters. The second character, I need to animate the entire body. The guy at a door has to open a door, and for him to grab the door and open it, it's a big door. I have to animate the entire body, and there's some just some minor technical things that I haven't conquered the work on yet. The idea is that I will be able to animate that with my own body, either through I don't think I'll get a motion capture suit, although that would be the ideal situation. But through camera tracking, what I mean is that there's going to be a lot of animation in this. So I'm going to need something pretty quick to pull in animations from. And so once I get that solved, whether it be a motion tracking or through a camera, there's an AI camera that tracks your. I've got one that tracks my fingers and my face right now. That's all I've been able to solve so far is my hands and my face. And you saw that in not the hands part, but you saw that in the preview. I'm not showing it to everyone yet because we want to produce the movie. If you guys want to help us produce the movie, I'd love it if you join us on Patreon. It'd be really great. It'd be really, really great. The motion capture suit would be an easy fix, but because of the budget, it really wouldn't make sense right now where we're at with our levels to do that right now. It doesn't mean that it's dead though. It just means I'm looking at other things. So that's the update on the movie. It's kind of sort of stagnant. Ever since I lost when the YouTube channel went down and the holidays and everything else, a lot of things kind of fell. Right now I'm still not streaming on my channel. I'm hoping to be back on the 21st. Trying to just survive till then. Thank you for everyone spreading the word that we're on this channel. The fact that 161 people are watching now, 162, really just makes my day because it means even though we had to completely change channels, it's only taken us about a week or two to. We're not back to where we were, but these numbers are great. They're really, really helpful. So thank you for that. Also, that's put me off on the DAO. I haven't been able to do as much of the DAO. Although last night I did a one-on-one with one of our own and walked him through how to join the DAO. And so that raised the DAO budget. We've got almost 3 Ethereum now in the treasury for the DAO. You can join that at dojowork.org/DAO. Although the reason why I haven't been pushing this is because when you go there is a to join the DAO, you're putting Ethereum into the tribal account. That tribal wallet is then going to be used for DAO activities going forward. There was some software that this company Morales was coming out with that was allowing me to put it on a website where you could tap in and give money to the DAO or join the DAO basically really easy. That software, they've just released the prices on it, and it's like $50 a month. And I don't want to pay $50 a month. So I think that was just there for the founders part at the very beginning. So joining the DAO will be a little bit harder going forward. It's actually not harder. It's just not as pretty is what it is. And I think Adam might even be writing a little tutorial for that. If he does, then I'll definitely be publishing that. But also something else huge is happening. We're having our first new moon gathering in Pennsylvania. I'm going to be trying to do I want to get a hermit photo of the caravan, and we're going to host a fire. We've the Dow didn't pay for this. Actually, the Welcome Committee is paid for this. The Dow Welcome Committee, but it's a small place. We only have it for one night. I don't yet know what it's going to be in Pennsylvania. Yeah, it'll be in Paradise, Pennsylvania, and I definitely want to do a meetup there. That'll be the 19th. That is very much Dow related. We have our Dow page on Discord too. And every new moon or every full moon or every equinox, we're going to be doing a get together somewhere. And if you have a place that you want to host a fire ceremony for us, you can say how many people you want to come. It's not like you have to, if your max is 6 people, let it know, right? But if you have that, then let me know or let the Welcome Committee know. And I'm going to come to as many of these as I can. So, but that'll be the next portion of the Dow part of this. So, I guess that's it, guys. It's sort of been a longer show, but yeah. So let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. And again, if you want to help with that movie, join Patreon or join me on JTrue. And I just realized I don't have my normal links because of like I said, when I don't have the original channel, all my support links, you have to kind of do them by hand, and I didn't have time to do it this morning, so I have to do that. But if you're watching this later on, you'll see the Patreon link in the description when I finish. So, yeah, we'd like to do a lot more this year. A lot more. We'll always be hosting a fire, creating this digital part too. Yeah, you should have one in Colorado, Sark. You definitely should. I would consider that. Scotland would be amazing. I would consider that too. Just depends if it's feasible, So yeah, there you go. Sark just posted a link to Patreon, but you can check us out on Patreon and watch that movie. Help us build it more. Help us get the Dow off the ground. All that stuff. I really hope tonight works out too. That'll be great. If not, I know it'll be happening soon. But something I've been wanting to do for a long time is happening, and I can't wait to show you that. There's a picture of Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, international cross-border payment system competitor to SWIFT, posing for a picture in a school when Phoenix on the cover of Financial Times. That's amazing magical education. Okay, quick word about crypto. You can run if you're like, no, stop talking about crypto. But magical education has his nose on something. I want you to realize that Ripple was pretty much the international cryptocurrency before the SEC investigation occurred. That SEC investigation occurred not too long after Ripple met with Trump in the White House. I actually think that Ripple has been chosen for the purposes of this Russian cutoff, and that I don't think that Ripple's necessarily going to be rewarded heavily, but I think that the entire investigation has been part of this ratcheting down of Russia. And it looks like, I don't want to speak for magical education, but it looks like he's sort of seeing the same thing. So good job, my friend. Thank you for that. Well done. Yeah. So we are... obviously, if you're curious what's going to happen next because of the embargoes, I think we will be looking at the CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies. This is their attempt to try and put you under there. And the more fears about Bitcoin being terrorist run, Russian run, all those things you'll watch those come up. It'll be really cute. It'll be as cute as nuclear weapons. Going, they have a bomb. Quick, put my dick in your mouth. They have a bomb. It's like that. And everyone will be like, oh, okay, they have a bomb. What are we going to do? What are you going to do? You have to do it. You have to. Sorry to be so vulgar, but damn, it really is that way. It's so gross. And all we do is feed it to each other. All we do is feed it to each other. The people in the camps at World War II that thought that they were surrendering to allies because the allies were taking care of them. Those people were telling each other what would happen if you tried to escape. They were telling the other prisoners, if you try and escape, they're going to put you in a barrel and they're going to burn you alive. And I really want you to consider that people that are telling you that nuclear bombs are real, that's who that is right now. And those people, I don't know if they've done their research. If they have, I want to know. I need to know. I need to change my entire cosmology if it's true. But it's very likely that you were doing what the same thing was happening in the World War II camps, where you were saying, if you try and escape, they're going to burn you alive by putting you in a barrel. Guys, they have nuclear bombs. If we don't put that cowboy slong in our mouth, we're going to get in trouble. You're doing the same thing. And you wouldn't know that you were doing it unless you truly saw the fog of war for what it is and how it works and how important it is. I'm not doing this to help sheep tides of truth. I'm doing this to help me. The more people around me that wake up, the safer I am. I have more faith in my fellow man having more ego, not less. When my fellow man has no ego because he's terrified of a Salt Lick story, I don't trust him. I've seen what that person does. So I don't get credit for being nice. I'm doing it for my own preservation. I want the environment better. I think that's what the rancher wants too. Yeah. It's hard to look at it zetetically. You got to burn a lot more calories. But it's the only way to get it. That's why truth is a silver coin at the bottom of the ocean. It's one single silver coin. And none of us will ever be able to dive that far to get it. All you're doing is watching people that are willing to try and bless them. Bless those people. You want those people on your side. Even when they know that the silver coin is 50,000 leagues under the sea. Yeah. Yeah. We'll be seeing you later. Have a good one all.
While I wait for the sun to shine.